So we are going to start off now. All right. So this is from October, November. Okay. Paper
Yes,
one.
sir.
Yes. The woman work. Question says comment closely on Angelo's presentation of women in the following poem. Okay. So in Women Work, the poet talks about how a woman's life is dominated by relentless, relentless labor and exhaustion, and how she has this deep desire for escape through nature. Nature, right? Is that nature, Mira?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this can be seen through the use of repetition, listing, contrast, imagery, and personification. I'm glad that you have given a generic introduction for poetic devices that are being used there. Okay, that is helpful then. So we are moving ahead now. All right. At the beginning of the poem, the speaker lists a series of tasks. Okay. Like I've got the children to tune, right?
To attend.
Okay, to attend, the clothes to mend, the flow to mop. This use of listing and repetition emphasizes the overwhelming number of responsibilities she has. This continuous flow of the task creates a sense of breathlessness, reflecting how endless and exhausting the work and every other woman's work is. Okay. The rhythmic pattern, okay, tend adds a rhythmic what? What did you write that? Rhythmic quality,
Quality, yeah.
quality, suggesting that her life is repetitive and routine. Okay. Now here you could have talked about it. Yeah, how this repetition is annoying. Okay, though it is annoying, but how gracefully the woman is embracing these challenges. Okay, and uh,
Okay.
and link it back to the time when women were meant to do these kind of chores. Like let's give a bit of historical touch when this poem was
Okay.
written.
I think
Okay,
मैंने ये दूसरे पैराग्राफ में थोड़ा सा
next
difference
paragraph.
दिया.
Okay, okay, let's move on. Uh, I was becoming slightly, I guess, restless to comment. Yes. Okay. So, although the line "I've got the children to tend" immediately shows the woman's role as a caregiver. All right. Um, the verb tend suggests contrast, attention, and responsibility, highlighting how children is what is this one? I know I can read your writing, but I'm just
Child
is.
child care is expected of her.
Can you repeat it again, please? Children care is
How, how child care is expected of her.
expected of her. All right. The clothes to mend reflects traditional domestic duties. Okay. Mend implies repairing rather than rather than either something is not clear.
Replacing.
Okay. Suggesting limited resources. This the line from flow to move continues the theme of housework, household chores, emphasizing physical labor, and this shows how society expects women to maintain cleanliness and order in home. Okay, where have you mentioned that? Is there another page to it?
No, sir. यही है.
No. Sure. All right. So there's a lot that you can further look into it, by the way. So if we talk about the figurative language that is being used in this case, all right, or maybe the poetic devices that are being used there. So we're just going to list them one by one. So one thing that you've mentioned is the use of, I'm sorry, yeah, the use of repetition. Yes, that is
Yes,
very
sir.
much dominant. And then other one is imagery. There's a vivid description of nature. She has talked about sun, rain, and wind. That creates a calming contrast to the harsh routine of a woman. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So there's now we have to when we are commenting on the poem, we draw comparisons. All right. So we look for comparisons. All right. So that helps a lot. So when I'm saying vivid imagery is being used, where she's comparing boring tasks of women, boring yet boring yet exhaustive, exhaustive, right? Exhaustive tasks of women with with the richness of nature. Okay, because Maya, when she describes the role of woman, then she contrasts it with the description of nature, linking it with the sun and wind and rain. So this creates a calming contrast to the harsh routine of women. Okay, then the other one is very much important, right? Which is a contrast. Okay, another contrast that is there. Um, the first stanza with peaceful tone of later stanza highlights the difference between labor and freedom. The first stanza refers to. Should you make it large? Is it visible? I know it's
Yes,
visible.
sir. It
Okay.
is.
Okay. Now, the first stanza refers to the hectic. The first stanza with peaceful tone begins with peaceful tone, and that highlights the difference between labor and freedom. Okay, and later stanza highlights highlights the difference between peace and freedom. So when you're commenting upon it, there are a few things that you need to look into. You have to look at the pacing, key skills while commenting. All right. So one is pacing, shift of the topic within the stanza or across stanzas. Okay. Okay. And then link it to the time it is being written. From historical aspect. Compare women to women of past to the contemporary women. Okay, and then you can do it. One more thing that I was about to look at is look for the social aspects. How what was the status of women at that time? Status of women, social aspect, economical aspects, right? Okay, is it making sense?
Yes, sir, it does.
As is the aspects? Yeah,
Aspects, yeah.
it's with A, right? I was about to write
Yes,
with E. Okay, economic aspects, right? And then role of men. How what were men considering from women? Okay, what were they expecting from women? Okay, then there's a strong use of personification. Now we're going back to the literary devices that are being used there, or poetic devices that are being used there. Earlier we talked about vivid imagery, then we talked about contrast. Now we're talking about the use of personification. Okay, can you figure out where the personification is being used there?
yes, sir. Well, I am.
Nature is given human qualities.
I'm very good. Yeah, yes, sir.
Nature is given human qualities, right? For instance, when she talks about, she says, wind blowing, comfort, all right, it making it feel like a companion to the speaker. Okay. Then there's a rhythm and structure here. Rhythm and structure. Okay. With rhythm and structure, we refers to the first stanza is long and rushed. Long and rushed. Okay, and reflecting, what does it reflect? Reflecting stress, while other shorter, which create a slower, soothing rhythm. Okay, creating a slower and soothing rhythm. Yes. Okay, so then we can also see a hefty use of alliteration. Can you spot alliterations in the text? You have to give me examples of illustrations as well.
Nutrition.
Yes.
With your the storm blow me from here with your fierce wind, let me float across the sky.
Okay. Repeated consonant sounds like shine on me, and then what example you are giving?
The storm blow me from here.
The storm blow me from here. How is this illustration? It's a repetition of consonant sounds, by the way.
Yes, sir. With
Yes.
your storm.
Okay, let's move on towards. I guess we need to look at the poem first. All right, maybe we can look at the poem right now. Okay. Um,
Okay.
so I need to go to the chat here. Right. Okay, there we have. Now, can you see the first stanza, which is quite rushed? It's a
Yes,
longer.
sir.
That is what I was commenting. I've got the children to tend, the clothes to mend, the the floor to mow, the food to shop. All right. Now, tend, mend, AA, mob, shop, BB. I'm talking about rhyming scheme now.
Yes, sir.
Fry, dry, CC. So it is following a very traditional rhyming style, AABBCC, right? Feed, weed, press, dress, cut, hut, sick, pick. Okay. Now, a longer stanza shows uh, the series of chores that she's supposed to do. Okay, and that's The reason why it is being written in a longer form, because it shows the exertion, sorry, that women has to do, and these things are done on daily basis and in a routine manner, all right, and then there's a huge list that she's supposed to do. All right. I've got company to feed. Now, she is not saying I got family to feed. There's a reason why the word company is written. Now, this shows a very sarcastic view of a speaker towards her family. Family is there to take care of each other. But in a family, if only one person is doing all the chores of a home, and she is and her work is considered inferior, then she is not calling it a family. She said, "I got company to feed." Making sense? So there's a reason why Maya has used the word company instead of family. Okay. Then the garden to weed. I've got the shirts to press, the torch to dress, the cane to be cut. I gotta clean up this hut. I gotta clean up this hut. Now again, this she's not calling this hut a home. I gotta clean up this hut. She's not calling it a home, because home is the place where people take care of each other. But now she's considering as a responsibility. She's considering as a burden on herself. Then see about the sick and the cotton to pick. Now, she is not only doing the household chores, she's also doing something which is beyond the home. She's going to the field, she's picking up the cotton, all right? Okay. Now, let's
Yes.
move on to the second stanza. Shine on me, sunshine, rain on me, rain, fall softly, dewdrops, and cool my brew again. Okay. Is that bro? Yeah.
Bro,
Bro? Okay. Shine on me. Now this is a direct address to nature. Shine on me, sunshine. Rain on me, rain. Fall softly, drops, and cool my brew again. Again, now
yeah.
we should. I'm sorry.
Like, uh,
Yes, are you talking to me? Please continue.
nice, sorry. Sorry.
Nothing? Okay, storm below me from here with the fiercest wind. Let me float across the sky till I can rest again. Now she is recalling her life before birth. Okay, she said no, storm, and now she's not calling any peaceful partner to come. She's rather calling devastation to come. Storm has to come here and blow me from here, because she knows an atrocious storm, a powerful storm, an angry storm can only pull her away from these chores that she's doing. A peaceful, a calm wind will never be able to, you know, pluck her from this field. Okay, that's why she's calling a stronger, vicious storm to come and blow her from here. All right, that's why the storm has a very negative connotation. Storm, whenever we talk about storms or volcanic eruption, they are always negative. They always create destruction, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, storm can never bring peace. Okay, similarly, volcanic eruption can never be for good. There could be something good after the storm or after the volcanic eruption, but when they come, there's always a disaster. Like we can't link tsunami as of a positive connotation. Tsunami means tabahi, all right?
Yes.
So storm below me from here with your fiercest wind. Now angry, extremely angry wind. Let me float across the sky. Now once she'll be up from here, she wants to float across the sky. Now this is the piece that she's talking about. Till I can rest again, and I want to rest. Rest for a very long time. That shows the desperation of the woman also. You know, that shows the that she's fed up from her routine. Okay,
Yes, sir.
and this clearly signifies that now there is a level of desperation. You know, if you keep on pressing some person, okay, and then there would come a time then she will break that shell and she would like to get free from him. Okay, so when you're writing a commentary for this one, you have to make sure you talk about these things. Pacing, shift of topic within the stanza or a cross stanza, historical aspect, social aspect, status of women, economical aspects, and role of men. Is there anything that you think you need to include while writing the commentary? Use of poetic
Poetic
devices.
devices.
Yeah, right. That is what I was, symbols that are being used in the poem. Like I told you, storm, right? Um,
Sunshine.
yes, sunshine, and her direct address. Her direct address with the nature also signifies that she knows who's going to rescue her. All right.
Sir.
Yes, I hope the class was helpful.
It does, sir.
I'm sorry, what?
It does.
Okay.
सर मुझे ये भेजते हैं.
I'm sending this to
Um,
you. Yes, I'm sending this to you.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, let's call it a day. See you inshallah tomorrow. It's Saturday tomorrow, but we need to work. We need to work on maybe.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So
Okay.
why don't you complete one of the paper and send that to me for checking?
Okay, sir. I'll do it.
Okay. And take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.
Officer.